we will start with the political debate. We are very excited to have so many speakers and also the European Commission, DG Employment joining us. This will be the first 1 hour of our program, this political debate on how to mitigate the socio-economic impact of the crisis and forge the best way towards an inclusive recovery. After the political debate, we move to the presentation on EU policy updates, and there is a lot we can learn, because today, later after our meeting, there will be an announcement made on the EU recovery package. And after the EU policy updates, we will finish with our staff meeting, and there are many discussion points we want to have on our advocacy planning, on our priorities for 2020, and also to welcome Karlstad as new member, and also to hear the new dates when we can go to Zagreb that the Deputy Mayor of Zagreb will announce. So this is the plan for today. But now let's focus our attention to the political discussion, and I invite my colleague Ivo Banek, Communications Director at EUROCITIES, to introduce the debate and the speakers. Ivo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Bianca, and thank you everybody for joining. It's just great to see how we can meet even in these times. I mean, since 10 weeks or so, we are accelerating our knowledge of video conferencing, I think, and everybody has become
We lost Ivo.
Ah, yes. Ivo, can you hear us? Oh, I think his screen is frozen.
We cannot hear.
We wait 1 minute to see if his connection restabilizes. Yes, he's lost. So my colleagues will get in touch with Ivo to see if he is back. In the meantime, maybe I will jump in, and I have the pleasure to inform you that yes, this political debate will be about what on everyone's minds is the crisis, the coronavirus crisis, and how to mitigate the socio-economic consequences, and now plan for an inclusive recovery. So we have put together an interesting program for our discussion today. So Ivo is back with us.
I should
Hello,
be back
Ivo.
now. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that perfect? Talking about how professional video conferencing is, and then just disconnecting. I mean, that was not my intention, but now it should work again. Welcome to my home. I am in Hamburg with sunny weather, and I just wanted to share one painting of my sister with you that I have. I hope it works. I bring it there. It's, let me put it up here. Here, you can see it in the back of me. And this is something that is around my room anyhow. But I thought today it is really good because the topic we are discussing is at the heart of the European project. Europe is a lot about peace. That was like the reason why it was founded, to ensure there will be no war anymore. But it's most of all about people, and it's about also empathy, feeling for people. And this crisis with the corona pandemic brought to light that how important it is that we don't leave anybody behind, and that there are people that are more vulnerable than others and that need more care from our side. And to be vulnerable has become also a new thing, I think, because many things that have been perceived as invulnerable, like a Superman thing, like big companies, have shown that they are very vulnerable, airlines and others right now. But still we can see that those who have been at the edge of the social quality of life before are hardest hit by the crisis very often. And that is something that we can see in the cities and that our cities have to deal with every day. And this is why I think it's great that we have a good collection of cities here in our panel that I will introduce now, and also the European Commission, so we can see how we can best cooperate to ensure that no one is left behind and that we can, as some already say, can come out of this crisis even stronger in the end. So that would be the ambition and the hope, at least. So let me introduce our speakers who we already see on the screen. Our guest, if I may say so, today is from the European Commission, the Director for Social Affairs in the DG Employment, Katarina Ivankovic. Very warm welcome to you. We are very keen to hear from your side what you can share, especially on this day where we will learn about the new budget and the recovery plan of the European Commission later. We have Sedat Arif from Malmö, the chair of the Social Affairs Forum here today. We have Martin, at least we had him. Yeah, there he is on my split screen, from Utrecht, also the vice chair of the Social Affairs Forum. So welcome to you as well. We have from Barcelona, the Commissioner for Social Action, Sonia Fuertes.
Good morning.
Good morning. In Leipzig, and I think that is the interesting background with the bookshelf, but a bit blurry, so we can't read the titles of the books. Thomas Fabian, so maybe you can share a bit what you are reading.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Thomas. We have the member of the City Council of Vienna, Christian Oksonic, with us.
Morning.
From Athens, we have the city councillor and also the president of the Reception and Solidarity Center there, Grigoris Leon. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
And last but not least, the meant to be the host of today in Zagreb, Jelena Pavicic, Deputy Mayor of Zagreb. So happy to have you here at least as our host on the screen with everybody.
Good morning once again. Good morning to you all.
Good morning. So we are looking into what cities are facing in this special situation with the pandemic. And as we said, cities are hit hard because it's in the cities where everything is happening. But in the cities, there are even groups of people that are hit very hard, more than others. And that is something that we want to take a look at today and how cities can respond to this situation. And I would like to start with you, Sedat, in Malmö, because you're chair of the Social Forum, but also you're facing the situation every day in Malmö. What can you share from the experience there after 10 weeks into the pandemic with all the experiences that we made? What have you seen as the most pressing challenges there, and how have you responded, and what have you learned from that?
Yes, thank you, Ivo, for giving me the word. First of all, I would like to thank everyone as a chair for joining us today in this really important discussion. But when it comes to the COVID-19 crisis, I would say that this is an unprecedented crisis that has effects, of course, on all cities and all people. Let us not forget the people that are affected of this, and some more than others. And the key role here is that we must have a solidarity among the cities. And first of all, I would like to thank Milan also for sharing experiences with us all when it comes to preparing for other cities. But I must say that this has had an immense impact on our local economies and our communities, above all the vulnerable, of course. The groups that are hardest hit are especially the elderly in our elderly homes, the homeless, they don't have the possibilities to isolate themselves always, and of course the migrants and refugees. But our cities are on the front line of managing this crisis and deserve to be recognized to take in a leading role in this COVID-19 situation. And we have acted fast with proactive and innovative measures to deal with the emergency on the ground. We mobilized and stretched our healthcare and social services to targeted support to the most in need in our cities. Many cities have extended shelter capacities to homeless and set up extra services such as food delivery for the elderly in the elderly homes. And this is a really nice gesture and solidarity in the best way. All this comes up on top our work, as we have to continue and adapt essential social services, in many cases innovating with digital tools for e-inclusion, which is really important in these times, of course. But this crisis has made the social inequalities really visible in our cities. For example, the homeschooling has deepened the digital divide, and we see it really clearly, but also made more visible the people who work in our cities, in hospitals, in supermarkets, or delivering goods to elderly, making us value more this work that they're doing, but also value the people that are actually doing this work. And one thing I would like to say, which is also positive in this crisis, is the solidarity. Everyone is sharing. Everyone is lending a hand to help out how they can. The young are helping the old with shopping. I, as a deputy mayor, called a women's cooperative and offered myself to deliver food in our city because we saw an income drop. And I just felt that this is a personal responsibility that I should take on a political level, but also as a human being, and help out in this situation. But when it comes to challenges, the most important challenge that we've had as a city is about public procurement for medical supplies and equipment in Sweden. And we found a solution where we, together with Gothenburg and Stockholm, managed to join public procurement. So this saved the situation, but this has been really challenging when it comes to medical supplies and equipment. So shortly, my comment when it comes to your question.
Thanks a lot, Sedat. I think most of you will have seen the video where Sedat invited everybody to join the forum today. So you shared some pictures from your personal example of helping in Malmö there. So if you have not yet seen the movie, check it after our meeting today. It's a nice one. Thanks a lot. And there's also another movie from Martin, who invited also for this forum. And Martin, maybe we can go to Utrecht next, because what Sedat just shared is, I think, a common situation in most of our cities, that we have some vulnerable groups, elderly, homeless, migrants, that we have to take care for. We also see young people affected a lot. And that is maybe something that we could take a look at in Utrecht, how you take care of the situation. And also because we are facing now out from the emergency help situation into a phase where we want to go in an exit and recovery strategy. So in the midterm perspective, how is Utrecht going along, and what are your plans? I think you're muted, Martin. Can you unmute your microphone?
Is it working now?
But we don't hear you.
Do you hear me now or not?
Yeah, now we hear you.
Okay, I do it without the earphones, so let's see how it works. Thanks, Ivo, and thanks all of the cities and colleagues now joining here online. Of course, definitely we would love to see each other face to face, but it's also very pleased to see Sedat, for example, but you as now Ivo on the screen. So it's just a beginning for the autumn. Let's hope so. And what Sedat already said, especially to Milan, but also Madrid and Barcelona, I would thank them for being open to sharing their experiences because their impact on the COVID-19 crisis was hidden very, very hard. So special thanks for these cities. And then to answer your question, how do we see the impact of the crisis, and how do we mitigate the impact of the crisis? Well, indeed, there are some specific groups that are hit more hard. One of the groups I would like to stipulate is the people that are getting into debts. We have also in the normal situation, we had a lot of people that are getting into debt, but now it's increasing more and more. But also, indeed, people are more at risk of losing their homes. Although we had already a problem with homelessness in all of our cities. So this problem was already there and is increasing. And now we have, I think, more a new problem of an increasing amount of people into financial problems, what we can say as urban poor or new urban poor. So what we're trying to do is a holistic and an integrated approach for all of our citizens. So not only to deal with these specific groups, but also to deal with a greater and a global ecosystem of help and of collaboration. So let me give the 3 examples how we do it. For example, people getting into debts. We had as an approach was to being earlier at the moment that they are getting into debts. So now we know that the people that are getting into debts are now at the stage that they are in the beginning of the problem. So what we have to do now is not waiting until they come to us as a government for the facilitation of their debts, but we have to find them now to be preventive for their problems. So what we already had founded as a possible solution for more people getting into debts, are we trying to do now and to implement on a greater scale. For example, people are at risk of losing their homes. We know that the best prevention of losing their home is to give them the solution of housing first. First, you need to be under any affordable housing, and then we care for the other problems. We know that this is a really new approach, housing first, and we're trying now to bring this over to a new scale, a larger scale. So everyone who is now facing the problem of housingless, we're trying to get immediately working via this new approach, this housing first approach. And then the last problem is, of course, the new urban poor. And we know that the best thing to do for new urban poor is to be combined with what we say the social foundation of the city. So not only trying to help them personally, but also being embedded in voluntary organizations, for example, to create solutions with the citizens themselves, to create solutions, creative solutions for vulnerable people that they found in themselves. So what we're trying to do now to mitigate the impact of the crisis is we know what the broader and deeper and fundamental solutions are, but we never had the momentum to implement them at a larger scale. But this crisis can be a chance to implement this crisis, these problems, and these new solutions for these problems on a larger scale. And that's the way we are dealing with the crisis, and not only mitigate the effects, but also create a healthy urban future for the people.
Thank you, Martin. Also, thank you for mentioning the housing and the employment issue, because I think that is something that is happening in many cities that we see. These are topics that need to be solved first. And I think Barcelona, and among the other cities in Spain, is facing exactly that situation, because you've been hit very hard early. And as you said, Martin, some of our other cities could learn from your early examples, which still means you had a lot to face, and you still have. And I think both those keywords of unemployment and homelessness are vital for you. That I've seen that in many examples that you shared on the COVID News platform that we have at EuroCities. So many from the examples of Barcelona are dealing with those. So maybe, Sonia, you could tell us a bit, how is Barcelona working on those topics?
Okay, thank you. So if we talk about housing, we find some difficulties. People have many difficulties to pay the rent or mortgage, and these difficulties are accentuated. And there are other situations very worrying about people who live in renting rooms. That is a now situation, but not quantified situation, and these people lose their homes because sometimes the tenants have fear, or maybe they can't pay, so they are on the streets and they are homeless now. So we have we do a strong effort to open more additional emergency housing. Before the COVID-19, we have 2,000 or more than 2,000 places for homeless people. Some of them relating to the housing fairs in small flats, and the other on big centers. And now we open 700 additional places, and we want to remark 3 of these experiences that are related. And first of all, with young people from 18 to 25. More of them comes to Morocco, and they are alone in Barcelona. And so we open a specialized center for them to support them. Another one for women. And this is, I think, a good experience, because we opened this center in a hostel, and we find this, we can support this woman to normalize this their situation. And after, we also open another one to drug users, and we did there an harm reduction center. And this also an innovative experience for us, because we can accompany these people to reduce the consume of illegal drugs, but also alcohol. So now we're studying.
The voice.
And for us, is the big question now is this.
Thank you, Sonia. We lost you in the last sentence a bit, your mic, but I think we got the essence of what you said, that you're focusing on working with the housing and also with your tenants that are like on the edge of losing, so that you in the public housing can help them by relieving the rent.
Yeah, and I talk about 3 kinds of center. Yeah, have you heard this?
Yeah, we got that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Housing is a special issue for a special group that we are dealing with, and that those are migrants and refugees. And Grigoros, in Greece, you're at one of our borders in Europe, and you're facing, as we all know, the situation of refugees and migrants waiting to come in, and some coming in. So you are at the front line of integrating those and helping them in the first place. And in Athens, I know you're working a lot with this, and the situation has, of course, also been changed dramatically during the pandemic. How are you helping those groups? How have you been able to support them in this situation?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the invitation, and also to mention you that for the measures of the City of Athens against COVID, we have several levels of measures, levels of permanent measures and levels of temporary measures. Well, of temporary measures, we have economic reliefs for all the families and for all the citizens of Athens, like the exception for payments of duties, for example, of temporary residence in short stay accommodation, and also other measures. Also, temporary were measures for total sanitation in the city, measures regarding the culture and sports, also measures for the citizens' health, for example, the transformation of the health clinic, municipality clinic to a medical center for the examination of citizens concerning the coronavirus. Well, we focused also, we try to see the COVID-19 as an opportunity for us to take also measures in a permanent way. And one of them was the digital transformation, the fast digital transformation of the services of the city. And in fact, now after a lot of years, we have a new e-platform of digital services that you can do almost everything from this e-platform, a lot of certification, a lot of applications, almost everything, and this will remain for also for the future. And what you mentioned about the peoples that they're in the city of Athens, refugees or not. I have to tell you that, first of all, the previous months, we do a lot of work with the street workers, and we noticed very well the necessities of the city. And we noticed that we have on the streets around 700 people, homeless people, not only refugees, but also not refugees. And so we saw the necessity to make new structures. And to this necessity, we do it in a fast track again, and we saw it in a permanent way. We try to make new structures also for the future of the city, because we have also the thought that the homeless will not be just for the coronavirus, but will go on and maybe will go worse. So we try to make two new structures. One structure was a block of flats of 3 blocks of flats. It was a huge structure of homeless people, but not addicted to alcohol or drugs or other things. And this structure has, we call it multi-purpose homeless center, because has also at the first floor we have a day center, and also we have a shelter for some days, and also we have more permanent apartments for more permanent stay, and we have 400 people that they can stay there, 400 posts. So in this way, with this huge building, we give a good solution, we can say, to the problem of homeless people. And also, as we have noticed also from the researchers and also from the street workers, that many people that are homeless in our city are also drug addicts. We created a new hosting structure for homeless drug addicts, and in fact, in collaboration with the Therapy Center for Dependent Individuals and the Organization Against Drugs, both of them are national organizations. We collaborate, and in fact, we have the first hosting structure for drug addicts in the city. Actually, we have 140 posts, and it's also a structure that will remain for the future.
Thank you very much.
Now I think I'm open also to questions if you have.
Yeah, it does, and I especially like the permanent direction that you take, that you say we don't only solve the problem that we have now, we build something that will last and remain, and that you use the term opportunity, because that is something that every crisis also offers, and that is something that we will elaborate on a bit more during our talk. So I'm glad that you brought up those examples and those keywords. Let's move to Vienna, a city that is also dealing with housing a lot, but maybe we could focus on a different aspect of this crisis that we have, Christian, and that is employment or unemployment, because we heard from all cities, of course, the labor market is affected dramatically. We have a few months lost of working hours, many people who suffer from the lack of income and all the consequences it has. And I know that in Vienna that has been one of the focuses that you have been working with. So please share with us what you have learned and done.
Thank you very much. Greetings from Vienna at first. Nevertheless, the situation in the city of Vienna, I think it's the same that we have in many other cities. You have also this.
Vienna, the voice is not clear.
The sound is a bit tricky.
Yeah, I have it also, but maybe it's better now. What's with my, okay. I tried it again. Yeah,
now it's better.
I think. The effects of the corona crisis, I think, are the same as in many other cities in Europe, in Vienna, and especially the economic situation is at the moment very hard. The short-time work and the unemployment has risen dramatically. So it's a main task for us here to help the people. And with the regards to the labor market, around 50,000 people in Vienna lost their jobs in the last weeks, and currently 207,000 Viennese are registered for short-time work. That's the actual situation. We have a good concept with the short-time work, but nevertheless, it means less income for many people and has effect for their family life and for their social life. Most affected sectors are the tourism. You can understand the catering, trade, and construction that are these sectors which are affected most, and the increase of unemployment, especially with young people, is above average, and it's leading the city government to develop even more support in this field. So we have now established once again the Vienna Youth Guarantee. That means that it's the guarantee for young people to apprenticeships for a full training for a job for the future.
Oh, now also the image is frozen.
Yes.
Christian, do you still hear us? Because we don't hear you. Now, seems we lost Christian for the moment. So maybe while we wait that Christian reconnects, hopefully in a few minutes, we could take the next step already now and see to Zagreb, the city where we are supposed to be today. Zagreb has been hit twice. I mean, you had the pandemic, as all of us, and then you had an earthquake on top in the beginning of March that destroyed large parts also of your historical buildings, as we have seen in the pictures. So there is really, and also we saw how you were trying to stay to the confinement and to the regulations of everything while helping those in need at the earthquake, which is a balancing act quite almost impossible to do. So maybe, Jelena, you could share a bit of how you have been facing this situation and what you could do in Zagreb to support the people.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak about not just the COVID crisis, but also the crisis that we have after the earthquake that hit Zagreb on the 22nd of March. So it means 2 months ago. First of all, I would like to say that in Croatia, as far as COVID-19 is concerned, the situation is very good. Croatia had no serious problem in handling the virus. For example, yesterday we did not have any new diagnosed cases. With a population of 4 million citizens, we had as little as 2,244 persons infected by the virus, and only, if I may say so, 101 deceased. Only 78 patients are in hospital treatment in the whole country. In the city of Zagreb, there were less than 500 cases and 23 deaths. Of course,
Jelena, your microphone is off. No.
From the beginning, I'm so sorry, from the beginning or
No,
not?
from the
No, only the last sentence.
So I don't know what happened, but as I was talking in the city of Zagreb, we had less than 500 cases and if I may say so, just 23 deaths. So I think that the situation in Zagreb due to the COVID crisis is very good. But due to the earthquake, well, we have some estimations that the damage amounts is more than 5.6 billion euro. And without the help of EU institutions, we believe that we will not be able to cope with the restoration of the urban and historical city center. On the other hand, this is of course an opportunity for both economic growth and better secure construction. there is also the idea to finally start the building of the underground we don't have here in the city of Zagreb. It will be a significant improvement, not just to the public transport, but also a construction upgrade to the facilities. This is also an opportunity to include our citizens into the rebuilding of their homes and their city, to channel the coronavirus trauma, and to look forward to the new concepts of urban living, urban mobility, digital transformation of the city, and of course, green construction. Also, if I may say so, something about the measures that we implemented into our everyday work. For example, from the state level, the minimum salary was ensured for more than 500,000 employees in the Republic of Croatia. So some of the measures that we did, for example, we limited, of course, the movement of the people within the borders of the municipalities and cities, not as radical as they did in Greece, for example, but also radical enough to stop to spread the virus. We recommended our citizens to stay home. Our schools, our shops were closed, and also everyday services and public transport also. And during this crisis, we organized the transport for public employees, for example, for doctors and nurses, pharmacists, police officers, firemen, utility and social care employees. One measure that really gave good results is that we closed our institutions for elderly to the visitors on the first day that the virus appeared in Zagreb, and it was the 25th of February. So the result is that we have had not any COVID-19 infection at all, and no deaths in our institutions for the elderly.
Thank you, Jelena. I think this last point is a very interesting one, because that was a hard learning for many cities and many countries who maybe reacted later.
Actually, people were not satisfied with this measure, because for 2 months we didn't give the opportunity for families to meet. But I think that the human life is very valuable, and I think that we did a really good job.
It's a tough measure for families, but many cities had to learn the hard way that it's very dangerous if you soften on this. Thank you, Jelena. We are happy to have you back, Christian. we lost you after you mentioned the loss of jobs, especially in tourism and construction and other areas. Okay. Maybe you could briefly elaborate on the consequences for the people affected and what you did.
Mm-hmm. Our main focus in unemployment at the moment are the young people. For us, it's very important that we don't have a lost Corona generation. That's our main task. Therefore, we focus on unemployment for young people. Therefore, we established years ago the Viennese job guarantee for young people. This Vienna guarantee, Vienna Youth Guarantee, means that every young people has the right to get an apprenticeship for a job, full training for a job with future. That's our main task. So we have established it. More than 4,000 young people have a full training in this program. We are sure that we need much more in the next week and month, because when the economic recession will hit us, our aim is really to prevent with all means what I've called the lost Corona generation. The second big thing for us in this field of social policy, there we have implemented a wide range of measures as many cities in many fields. But I think one of the things that we assured people in need mostly, and we have a lot of people in need mostly, was that our Department for Social Affairs ensured its service to its 133,000 users all the way during the crisis by extending the duration of the expiring social benefits. That was a real necessary program for us. An automatic procedure and postponed controls were put in place, allowing everyone in need to get social allowances and stay financially stable. The team also made sure relevant information reached all concerned people. That was very important for us, that everyone has the information, they get the social support in future also, and they have not a bureaucratic border which makes it not possible for them. I also want to focus a little bit on a group and a reminder on a group of the population that had been hit by the crisis really heavily and in manifold ways, and these are women. They are the ones that make up most of the staff in our health and social services. Women have been confronted with triple burden of home caring, homeschooling, home working, and their work. At least they are those working in supermarkets, mainly exposed in many ways. And when it comes to precious work, many women are affected as they work in catering and cleaning. And above all this, due to confinement, they are at greater risk of losing of at least male domestic violence. Therefore, a second big focus in our work at the moment is how we can support women. These women, those women who lost their job, who are unemployed, who have social crisis, but also those women which are confronted with male domestic violence. We have a big program. We can give you all the information also for that. So that are two main focuses: the youth work in all different measures and the work, especially with the big group of women which loses at least the most.
Thank you very much, Christian, for those. I see you speaking, but I don't hear you anymore. But so your microphone is off. But thanks for sharing these.
You see the necessity of a 5G program we have established in the last weeks for Vienna.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. Let's round up our round of cities with Leipzig, Thomas, because you have also, I mean, many of the things that have been said, you are sharing, of course, because it's common challenges that everybody was facing. I think you had special focus on two groups, which one was homeless people and one was children. Maybe you could share your experiences with those a bit.
Yeah, hello to everyone, and thank you for inviting me to this video conference, and I'm very happy to be part of it. Of course, the city of Leipzig has been affected by the corona crisis like many other cities as well, maybe in different ways. What I would like to point out first is what the colleague from Zagreb also pointed out, is that the corona crisis, even though it turned out to be a big economic crisis and also in some parts a social crisis, is first of all a health crisis. So it is still very important to prevent people from dying, to prevent the virus to be spread around. And even though the situation seems to be a bit relaxing more, and some of the measures are being taken back, we have to be prepared for a second wave. And until we have no vaccination, no medicaments, it is still, first of all, a big health issue that we are tackling with, we have to tackle with. So what was the reaction of the city of Leipzig when the corona crisis started? Before even the regional government or the national government took measures to restrict public life, we in the city of Leipzig started very early, and accompanying these restrictions, we set up at the beginning of March so-called Corona hotline, where the citizens were able to ask the many questions they had. This hotline was on for 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we had thousands of calls from our citizens. We also used this hotline to be able to find people who were infected by the virus. So this hotline was run by the health department. We also had a hotline for families because the families who had to stay at home were under a lot of stress. So experienced people like social workers were answering their questions or giving advice over this hotline. And yes, Ivo, we had some groups we were focusing on a lot. First of all, homeless people. We immediately expanded our capacities for people to have not only a night shelter, but also to stay during the whole day, have a roof over their head. Then we expanded immediately our capacities for women who were affected by domestic violence. We immediately expanded our capacities for children who were under a threat of maltreatment. So these were the immediate measures that we took: child protection, protection for homeless people, and for women. One of the important things that I think that we have to learn, and I very much hope so that we learn from this crisis, is that we need strong public and especially also municipal infrastructure. Yeah, I think maybe some of the cities and in Germany and other countries have sourced out too many of their own services. So I think we need a good balance between the free market on some of the services, but also we need a strong local municipal economy. And we were quite happy that we still have a lot of own companies here in the city of Leipzig. Of course, we are now facing many economic problems, especially the small local businesses have big problems. Some colleagues mentioned tourism. The restaurants, of course, are closed, have been closed for a long time, and they are facing big economic problems. We closed the kindergartens, we closed the schools, and now we are step by step opening kindergartens and schools again. What we did that even while the kindergartens and the schools were closed, we provided an emergency service for children of families in need, families that we know from our childcare services that they could be send their children to kindergartens and primary schools even though they were closed. So I think we have a wide variety of problems that we are facing. First of all, we still have to deal with the health issue. We have to deal with the economic issues and, of course, with the social issues.
Thank you very much, Thomas. I think that sums up quite well what all of you shared, that we are still left with a lot of challenges in our cities, and almost all of them come with costs. So with the financial impact, whether it is the recovery of the economy or is it the social needs that we have to address. So maybe that's a good point, Katarina, for you to respond. Katarina Ivankovic, Director of Social Affairs at the DG Employment of the European Commission. The Commission has immediately reacted to the situation. We all know that you have launched the Coronavirus Response Investment Initiative for immediate help and funding, and you have also put some flexibility on the state aid rules to give more room to maneuver for cities and states. So I think all of us are aware of those, and most of us have used those instruments already. So maybe given the day-to-day where we will see the new budget of the EU announced and also the recovery plan, maybe you could look a bit into the future, what we can expect, and share what the response of the European Commission is in that light and what cities can expect. Please.
Thank you very much, Ivo, and thank to all cities that have. Do you see me?
Yes, we see you, we hear you. All good.
Great. Thank you so much. So thank you all for sharing your experience, and I will speak in a bit more detail, I would say, in the continuation of today's conference. So I'm just going to briefly reflect on what the cities have pointed out, and then indeed we will have the possibility to see a bit more how the CRI and CRI Plus, as you rightly pointed to, Corona Response Investment Initiative, have been adopted. I think I haven't been in a commission so long, bit more than a year and a half, but my colleagues who have been here for more than 30 years said that this is the first time in the history of the Commission and the Parliament and the Council that such an important document was revised and adopted so fast. And I think this shows as well the seriousness of the situation. And indeed, as the Deputy Mayor from Malmö said, this is unprecedented crisis. This has never been seen before, and this is something that puts us all into specific position. So our meeting today couldn't be more timely, I would say, because indeed today the Commission is going to present the future financial package, and it is also going to, in the context of the recovery plan and the new Commission program. In the new Commission program, it will be clearly visible where are we putting our policies and money, I would say. We still, of course, have to wait for the public announcement of the whole package, but I will share in the continuation plenty of the details that are interesting for all of you and all of us. I see, so we had presentation and the discussion from 7 member states. So from Sweden, Netherlands, Spain, Greece, Austria, Croatia, and Germany. So we have all East, West, South, and North, I would say. And the curiosity is that all of the member states have the same challenge, which shows, I think, more than maybe just sharing the same challenges or same health crisis issues. I think it shows that we have much more similarity than we sometimes see and than we sometimes think. And in the way, the solidarity, which is a key and which will be clearly visible from today's announcement that Fontaine is going to make, is going to be embedded deeply in the recovery package and in the recovery programs. Also, there are some patterns that we have seen in the Commission. Indeed, some groups are hit harder than the others. This definitely goes for the elderly. It's not only that Croatia implemented the closing of the institutions. Many, I think almost all of the member states have this measure as a preventive measure in a way and a protective measure in the end. But unfortunately, we have a various situation between different member states. And unfortunately, in some of the member states, in Belgium, definitely where I am today, although the weather is beautiful and sunny, we have indeed, as well as in Netherlands or France, a serious number of deaths in residential homes, which shows that indeed, as the mayor from Leipzig spoke, timely delivery of the protective equipment and timely delivery of all the needed support in terms of adequate, not only equipment and medical equipment, but also workforce is crucial when dealing with a crisis like this. We also spoke a lot about housing and homelessness as well. And housing exclusion, I think, is indeed not because I'm the social policy director, but because it's so visible that housing exclusion is one of the common challenges all the member states face. we spoke, the mayor of Utrecht, the deputy mayor of Utrecht spoke about Housing First project and how to tackle the homelessness by securing not only the housing or facilities, but also introducing immediately services and addressing both challenges at the same time. We only have one member state that have managed to conquer, I would dare to say, the homelessness, and it's Finland. And Finland is indeed the best promoter of the housing first approach. And I'm happy that the other member states are embracing the housing first approach as something that they find desirable and the way that they want to approach the homelessness issue. I also see that many of you spoke how you found a way to help homeless people or those who were evicted from their homes or lost their homes for various reasons. And I think that the really relevant point was pointed from Barcelona for the people that were in the rented apartments and houses, and they have lost the possibility to pay rent and are in danger of becoming homelessness. And we've seen many hostels in the city be opening their doors for the homeless persons, and this is definitely something we should appreciate and we should address. I was happy that the deputy mayor of Vienna mentioned the youth guarantee and the women. And indeed, you will see later on how are we going to address it. But the new and the revised and improved youth guarantee at the European level is going to be put in place. And also, when speaking about women, it's not that they make up to 70% of the health workforce. I would say they make almost 90% of the educational workforce. And if we speak about the health crisis where doctors and nurses were really on the front fighting with a virus, I'm sure that educators and teachers have done an amazing job in finding the new digital and virtual ways how to engage with the children. It also showed that huge amount of work needs to be done in this area. And this is definitely something that the future funds can help in resolving. But it is also a question of putting women in the perspective of informal carers, of home carers, and in the end, as some of you have spoken about increased violence against women and children, this is definitely something that Commission also thinks is extremely important. In the end, towards the end of year, there will be put in place a strategy on combating the violence against women. And I'm sure that many of the experiences gained during the confinement will help into making the strategy working and well designed. So this would be just the first reflection, so to say. But then later on, I will take you through different documents, ideas, and to show you where the Commission is going to put all of its efforts.
Thank you very much, Katharina. We are very much looking forward to seeing more details of that. And thanks for listening in and responding directly to what the colleagues shared. That's much appreciated. I would like to do at the end of this debate a short round where I give the Vice Chair and the Chair of the Social Affairs Forum the chance to address some of the things that you have identified in your work now with all the cities that are important to be kept in sight and mind for the future cooperation between the Commission and the cities. And maybe, Martin, you could start as the Vice Chair of the Social Affairs Forum. And then in the end, Katharina, you could maybe quickly respond to what is summarized there. So Martin, please.
Yes, thanks. And also thanks to all the cities and their sayings today, because I think what I always find surprisingly, but now also is stipulated again, is that there is a lot common where we are working for. There is a lot of simultaneously working, and also the solutions we are working with are in most of the times they are equal to each other. So that's very interesting to see again. But what I would like to say also about the collaboration with the European Commission is that there was some of a financial crisis some years ago, which I can remember in 2008, and I know that most of the cities in Europe are still working on the effects of this crisis, and they were still getting higher and up out of the deep impact the crisis left in these cities. And also we learned some things, I think, in the cities, but also in the states, about how we have to mitigate the effect. And I think one of the most important lessons is that we need to avoid cuts of budget in the midst of the crisis, because the impact of it is huge. So we need to avoid that our local public services in Europe, in the cities, are getting deepened in the problems because they have to fear their budget. So I think one of the most important things now to share with each other is let us not make this mistake again, not on European side, but also not on the cities themselves.
Thanks a lot, Martin. That is a clear demand and clear request that Katharina can respond to in the next round. But before, I would like to ask the chair of the Social Affairs Forum, Sedat from Malmö, to share your views on what's most important for the future cooperation between the EU Commission and the cities.
Thank you, Ivo. And once again, thank you all cities for sharing your experiences. It has been really interesting to listen to all of you. But when it comes to my last comment, is that this crisis faced by Europe is extraordinary and requires an extraordinary response, of course. But it is also, I think, an unique opportunity to reinforce social Europe and promote EU as the engine for inclusive recovery, putting people at the center of the recovery. Cities are ready, of course, always to work with the European Commission to reinforce social Europe and make the bridge between EU and citizens to ensure the urgent needs from local level and get a European response, leaving no one behind. We are more determined than ever to build a more inclusive cities through an inclusive, just, and sustainable recovery. We will continue to step up our efforts to deliver the European pillar of social rights at local level to build a more inclusive cities for all, with a focus on recovery from COVID-19 crisis. But in turn, we expect the European Commission to engage cities as key partners in reinforcing social Europe, to ensure a strong urban dimension in the EU Recovery Action Plan. This means a better, more direct access to cities to EU funding in the next 7-year budget, of course, but both grants and financing instruments to ensure better support for long-term investments in social infrastructure and social services at local level by using ESF, of course, but also the ERDF, the European Development Fund. And nobody can respond, of course, to this unprecedented crisis alone, but working together between cities, national government, and Europe, of course, we can do more than undo the effects of COVID-19 crisis, but also give a fresh start to tackle the social inequalities that have been long-lasting in our society and that we need to address really quickly, as many has mentioned before me. Thank you very much, Ivo, for the word.
Thank you. Maybe Katharina, before you respond, one remark from my side, because you just said how interesting it is to see that in all the different parts of Europe where we are from, challenges are different. And I think that has become very clear that we are all facing a similar situation and similar challenges. Still, I think there is a lot of differences that we also heard from. The situation on the ground is different. The national framework is different. The economic conditions are very different. So there are regional differences. And also in a city, we know that some parts of the city, some districts are very different from others, and some are really focal points of the problems where we need to act completely different from another neighborhood. So I think the need also for a place-based approach of help has become very visible, because we also see very creative and different solutions in the different spots that we are representing here. So that could maybe also an aspect that you could reflect on, how the place-based help, so how the direct access, as also Sedat and Martin mentioned it, of cities for funding to really decide on the ground locally what they need and what to do, how that can be ensured in the program of the Commission.
Thank you, Ivo, and thank you, Mark, for your remarks and the comments. I can really share. Do you hear me?
Yes.
I have a double noise. I hear myself twice. It's better. No, it's fine now. Yes, indeed, Ivo. I will start with your last remark, and yes, there are many similarities. Many similarities in terms of who affected population is, on health challenges that are more or less the same. We have also seen that different health systems and different approaches have a different effect in the end. And this is definitely something to look forward to, like the number of beds and intensive care, etc. Also, we see, and our microeconomist colleague that pointed out in the spring package and in the spring forecast, that indeed the fall, unfortunate fall, which has been occurring in each and every member state, is quite uneven, and even more they are predicting that the forecasting that the recovery will be uneven in the different member states. And also we see some really, I would say, curious aspects of how, for example, the crisis, the corona crisis, and the number of the cases infected has been affecting different regions of Europe depending on their connectivity, and how many people actually transit through certain cities and places, which show even in the individual member states huge differences. And then, for example, if you take the Frankfurt, which is like the most frequent place in Europe in regards of the transport, and maybe Hanover in the north were not hit the same way. So this is this specific component that we need to have in mind. What is, I think, also extremely important, that we use this crisis in order to indeed, as Sedat says, to reinforce the social Europe. And there are many means how this can be done, and I will be sharing it with you in a second. But also this is opportunity, as we are just about to enter the new financial perspective 2021-2027. The crisis have shown that many priorities will need to be redefined, will need to be in a way reinvested in order to address the crisis, but more important, the consequences that the crisis is going to make in all the spheres. We see now, for example, that the budgets are largely unspent. EU budgets are largely being transferred from the cohesion and ERDF fund to the ESF. And then if we know that ERDF is, and cohesion are infrastructure, and ESF is always so-called soft, but indeed ESF is much more than soft measures, we can really see that the importance of the funds and the importance of the European Social Fund Plus will be more visible more than ever. I don't know if the president has announced already, but I will share with you that the health program that was supposed to be a part of the ESF Plus is no longer going to be a part of the ESF Plus. It's going to be self-standing program, and the amount of the fund, which was supposed to be really not more than 40 million, 400 million, is going to increase significantly. And we will see today what is the proposal of the new health strand, for example. Also, as for you in the cities, the local infrastructure, which is social infrastructure as we see it, so the educational, the health, and social in its course, including the social housing and the housing exclusion challenges, is going to be addressed also through InvestEU. InvestEU is a new instrument. It will be in the forms of debts or guarantees to be seen, but this is also something to have in mind, and this is also the possibility that you will have be able to use if needed, and I'm sure that many of you are going to jump on this possibility as soon as it is out in public. Thank you, Ivo.
Thank you, Katarina, for sharing these first-hand information that we're all waiting for today. So really great. Looking forward to getting even more details from you later. We are almost at the end of our debate, still the beginning of your forum meeting, so there will be more time to discuss. But we invited you, the participants, also to ask questions. And I also just wanted to briefly check with you, Bianca, because you were watching the chat and listening in what our participants want to know and to share. Is there anything we could take up and bring to our panelists?
Yes, our participants have been very engaged on the chat box, and there are two questions that came to the forefront. So one is about how can we fight rising inequality and poverty, because this is really what is the next stage of the challenge with coronavirus. How can we limit and mitigate rising inequalities? And on the positive side, we've seen good solidarity actions in our communities, in our cities. How can we mobilize this further within our city, but beyond cities to support more solidarity? And this is, of course, not only now with the coronavirus, but it's linked to how we want to build our cities after, in the post-COVID situation.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot, Bianca, for those. I know from the COVID news platform, because I'm, of course, not only editing, but also reading what we get there, that some of you are already started to build up initiatives for the future. Maybe just because I think it's linked to what the two participants have asked. One could be to hear from you in Barcelona, because I've seen a very interesting project that you call the Pact for Barcelona, where you have involved like 200 or so different players, actors, organizations in the city to build back better, to build up something new. Maybe, Sonia, you could share a little bit about this.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Barcelona City Council promotes the definition of a pact for Barcelona, who involves all the main political, social, and civic actors of the city. And in the same way that we talk here, we think that this crisis is also a challenge to reduce the inequalities, to build some social model, more territorial, more innovative, with a community approach. So in a social way, we focus on 7 areas, especially now. There's the facing the housing emergency, first of all, and guarantee the coverage of basic rights, but we think that this basic also have a guarantee of basic income. So that's a question that we think. Offer emotional support in the post-COVID is a thing that we have to work hard. Face gender violence also. Guarantee the right to care and promote the community solidarity networks. I think that is the other one. Fight against child poverty and guarantee the rights, and also the promotion and labor rights, especially also of the young employees, the generation COVID, as said Vienna. We have 3 outputs of this pact. First of all, a manifesto who sign off these actors together. After that, we want to work and to build together a decalogue of 10 broad lines of a strategic agreement that summarize the major elements of this agreement in a strategic level. and a close set of indicators shared with all the actors and related to the state of the city that allow to monitor its evolution and also monitor the impact of the measures that have been agreed in the pact. For us, the pact is an opportunity and is set up with the mission of taking advantage of the full potential of Barcelona in order to overcome the COVID-19 crisis and generate a new impetus for the city. We think it's the way to fight against the post-COVID is to build some community together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonja. I think very interesting example. And I see Jelena raising her hand, not on the computer, but on the screen, and Thomas as well. But let's start with Jelena, please.
I just wanted to say, due to the questions that were proposed to us, that we, of course, have to redefine our priorities and make some new approaches, especially in the field of mental health, because the experts from all around the world are saying that in the autumn we have post-traumatic stress in after COVID situation, especially with so in the city of Zagreb, we just made a new digital platform with costly topics for experts and for families to help everybody to cope better with the COVID-19 crisis. And also, I would like to say that this situation showed us that if we can focus our public health to combat COVID-19, it's okay. But at the same time, we cannot provide good health care for people with chronic diseases or to combat new illnesses. That was the problem in Croatia, but I think it will be the problem all around Europe because doctors and nurses and everybody in healthcare and also in social care are focusing on COVID-19, but people are still ill from their primary illnesses, and they, I don't know, can get ill from cancer and so on. And in the last 3 months in Croatia, the rate of recognizing the new illnesses was very low because we all just focus on the COVID-19. So I think that in the perspective, we will all have very, very big problems with organizing healthcare in a way that can combat two situations, COVID-19 and still providing good healthcare for our citizens. And it will also be the opportunity for us as cities, as municipalities, as states and European Commission to work together to organize some kind of new funds, new programs to combat those two parallel situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Jelena. Thomas, you raised your hand as well. You have a comment.
Yeah, a very short and brief comment. In Leipzig, we have several programs with which we want to help vulnerable people, especially those persons that are in the focus of social policy. But we are now planning the budget for the coming year, 21. And of course, our municipal budget is also affected by the economic crisis. So we will probably have to decide on priorities for the budget. But one thing I can say is that we will not cut on the investments. Yeah, every money, every euro that helps the local economy will be spent next year, because I think stimulating the revival of the local economy is also a very good measure to come back to normal again.
Thank you, Thomas. I think that's a very important remark and a very important term, investments. And with this, I would like to go to maybe for a last comment from our cities to Vienna again, because you have a little bit of a similar activity, an alliance. I mean, we have heard about the Pact of Barcelona or for Barcelona. We know you have a company funded Stolz auf Wien, Proud of Vienna. And that is exactly, if I got it right, about investments in future businesses. Maybe you could share a bit of that, because that is about building and recovering after the crisis. I think you are muted.
So, the Stolz auf Wien community is not so much has the focus on investment, but it's here we want to help companies which have a bigger financial problem at the moment. Therefore, we had about 20 million euros from beside of the city, but also with a private partnership to give them in a difficult situation the support to survive, at least at the moment. And we have focused here on companies situated in Vienna and identified very hardly with Vienna, because we know that some of our companies, and I don't want to mention some names at the moment, but a lot of companies have an effect abroad the border and all over Europe, and you will know a lot of them. But nevertheless, they have an economic problem in this moment, and therefore we want to support them with this measure. We had a second big, or we have at least a second big program that's every Viennese household will get a 50 euro check for stimulating the restaurants, the cafes, and so on. So every household, families for 50 euros, or single households only for one people 25 euros, so that they go back to the restaurants, come into the cafes, to stimulate also at least the economic situation in a field that has a lot of problems at the moment. We have had at least a similar activity for the elder people. They got a transport voucher for about, I think, 80 euros, 50 euros or 80 euros, I'm not sure at the moment, so that the older people can at least have mobility back. They had restrictions for going out. We know that they have they were angry to use the public transport system, so they had the possibility to use taxis when they have to go to their doctor, or for some when they want to meet their family or something. So also with such activities, we try to stimulate at least the economic situation in Vienna. And there are 3 programs at the moment that we hope that will help us in this difficult economic situation.
Thank you very much, Christian. And I think that's very interesting that at the end of a debate about social affairs and social recovery, we talk about economic recovery, because those 2 things are tightly linked, of course. We knew that before, that you need to have some money to afford social care, but we see it very clearly now how those are linked. And I just want to mention a Greek term. I hope I say it. I say it right, Grigoris. Kairos. It's a certain point in time. You have chronos, which is the time that goes like it goes every day, and then you have kairos, which is a certain point, a special situation. Very often it's a critical situation, a crisis that we face. But the term is especially focused on opportunities, because this is a moment where we can do things differently, where we can do things in a way that we have not done before, and especially on the connection between economy and social affairs. I think we can do a lot of things better than we've done in the past. If not now, when would we be able to change things fundamentally? So I think from all the examples that you shared, with all the creativity that we see in the cities, and also with the responsiveness of the European Commission, Katharina, that you brought to the table, I think there is a lot of opportunities right now that needs to be further developed, and where we can go ahead and really can hopefully build back better after the crisis. Thank you all for sharing what you have shared from the cities that you are from. Thank you, Katharina, for responding from the European Commission. We're looking forward to hearing more from all of you. And with that, I hand back to Bianca for the program.
Thank you so much, Ivo, and thanks to everyone for this lively debate. think we learned a lot, and especially now at the end, we get to see that social and economic recovery go hand in hand. We need to rebuild the economy by investing in social, and yes, we need to strengthen our social services to help the economy as well. And that's why it's a unique opportunity to have Katarina today with us to get a fresh insight into the new MFF proposal and the recovery package, and how this is affecting the social agenda and the social dimension of the recovery. So we are all eager to learn a little bit more so that we can plan in our cities. And I know, Katarina, you prepared a presentation, yes, for this part of the EU policy updates. If you want, we can share the presentation. You can share the PowerPoint.
Okay, let's try sharing. And while I'm trying to share the presentation, I would just like to point out that indeed I fully hope that all the policymakers will understand that social costs should not be seen as the budgetary spending, as the budgetary investments. And I think this is the key to many problems, and this is definitely something, almost there, that all of us have to have in mind, and especially all of you who are creating the budgets. Do you see the presentation now, Bianca? Is it from the beginning?
Yes, we can see. We can see.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
So you have the floor for the presentation. For the participants, a point of information, Katarina will present now for maybe 10-15 minutes or so, and then we will have the chance to ask questions for clarification. So we will also allocate about 15 minutes for this. Please use the chat box during listening to the presentation of Katarina if there's any points for clarification you want to ask. So now I give the floor to you, Katarina.
Thank you very much, and I will try to speak. Let me try to. Okay, I have the mobile so I can see the time, and not to exceed 10 to 15 minutes. I have many slides, and my colleagues who prepare my presentations usually put much less, but this time they thought it's important for you to know each and every element and aspect. But Bianca, I'm sure that we can share and so that colleagues might have the possibility to see the whole presentation in a more.
Yes, we will share after, of course, the presentation.
But I will
if you want to share more, we are a bit flexible, but we want also to have some questions from the floor. So yes, I let you continue.
Perfect. So just to highlight, indeed, and we have mentioned today several times that Commission had this, I would say, rapid response to the Corona crisis, and really many elements have been put in place for the as the response to the crisis. We spoke about the temporary framework for state aid measures. We also have put the general escape clause in the Stability and Growth Pact. We also have adopted the guidelines. Our EU OSHA has adopted the guidelines concerning this is health and protection, but the Commission has put in place the guidelines for the free movement of workers, because you can just imagine, and all of you living in cross-border areas know how difficult it was in the beginning of March and mid-March to see what will happen with the cross-border workers, how they could have the fast and secure access to their workplaces. And this was indeed one of the biggest, I would say, EU challenge at the beginning of the crisis. We have put in place two Corona Response Investment Initiatives, CRE and CRE+. There is also SURE, and I will speak about SURE a bit later. Also there on the 15th of April, we have adopted European roadmap to lifting coronavirus containment measures. All the EU OSHA guidance was issued a few days ago, and also just last week, the ECDC has published report on COVID-19 in long-term care facilities, and this is only the first report of such a kind. They are going to follow from the perspective of disease control and prevention how the COVID will spread in long-term care facilities. And I think this also shows importance, as many of you have pointed out today, on our services devoted to mostly elderly people, but also persons with disabilities or any institutions in a way. European semester package was published last week. Member states have seen their country-specific recommendations, and I think there is a clear link and clear visibility where and what we as the Commission consider as the most important elements and challenges within the Member States. And today the President will present a recovery plan, including also in addressing the MFF 2021-2027, and also revised Commission work program. And from all of those documents, it will be clear which path Commission is taking. So CRE, I will skip this slide. I will just go on the second slide because I think it's maybe a bit more informational. So what was introduced in CRE Plus is maximum flexibility in transferring the funds between all of the existing funds of the cohesion, ERDF and ESF. And we've seen, as I said already, the huge investments that are flowing into the European social funds from two other funds. And this shows which measures indeed have shown to be the most important when dealing with such a crisis. Also, there is a maximum flexibility for transfers between all three categories of regions. And I think for you as the cities, this is an extremely important element to have in mind, so that if there was an unspent money dedicated for the rural or deprived regions, it could be transferred to the urban area. Also, there was a huge flexibility on the thematic concentration. And I think one of the very important elements, because many of you have been facing different challenges, having to co-finance the short-term works, having to co-finance many other activities. And I've seen in a chat, some of you providing the free meals, so many of you providing the transport services for free, or really under the very affordable conditions. So this is an important measure to have in mind, and it's 100% co-financing rate for the cohesion policy programs for 2021. So for those 2 years, no national co-financing would be required. And also the reduction of administrative burden. And we've seen our colleagues from the DIA units and your colleagues from the managing authorities are in constant contact. And we established also the coronavirus response website, where the managing authorities and responsible authorities have the access, and they ask the questions, how to implement CRE or what is eligible, how to deal with the different audit challenges, and Commission replies within 72 hours, and this is functioning perfectly. Important also to have in mind that FEAD has also experienced some changes. So now we have the possibility to provide protective materials and equipment to partners organizations, so to the volunteers and those dealing with a food or material assistance. We have the possibility of flexible support in food delivery, including the vouchers, and the vouchers are new and a big element, I would say, in FEAD that is probably going to stay and to remain, because it's also linked to simplifying the whole process, and also the 100% co-financing rate. SURE, as a temporary instrument set for COVID-19, let's say as a response of COVID-19, has a purpose to provide liquidity support for short-time work schemes, and in order to secure jobs, preserve jobs, and SURE is still in the, I would say, establishing phase. And now today, the President von der Leyen is going to set and to put SURE really in the perspective, and I think quite soon first loans are going to be granted from SURE. Refocused spring package that was adopted last week we see that recommendations are focusing on intermediate fiscal, economic, employment, and social response. Each member state has also the health recommendation. We have adopted the health recommendation depending on the specific circumstances of each member state. So it is indeed as cross-cutting issue, but as possible as needed, country-specific as well. In terms of the policy responses, and I will here touch upon only some of those because it would be really, I would need hours to discuss all of them, but the recovery package is going to focus around three areas. So preserving jobs and promoting quality jobs opportunities for all, contributing for fair working conditions, and reinforcing social protection and fighting poverty. It is important to have in mind that the European pillar of social rights remain indeed an overarching policy framework, and this is extremely important for us. So before I go to the social aspects, maybe just to share in the area of promoting equal quality opportunities for all, there are going to be presented initiatives related to skills. You know that new skills agenda is on the way, and the new VET recommendations, so vocational education and training recommendation, in order to secure additional competencies related to current jobs, but also faster and better gaining of the qualifications, and also upskilling and reskilling. There is also reinforcement of the public employment services. And I think plenty of you spoke about securing sufficient support to the services, including also the public employment services. Also measures targeting youth guarantee, and happy to see that some of the member states have really embraced the youth guarantee in their policies, and especially thanks to City of Vienna. And also creation of new jobs through an action plan on social economy. You know that our Commissioner Schmidt is very eager and very active in the area of social economy, and we are all really looking forward to see how it is going to be affected and implemented. So to contribute to better working conditions for all, the minimum wage initiative is not going to be obviously adopted as fast as we thought before the corona crisis, and it was a 100 days initiative, but the discussion continues, and the second stage, so-called second stage consultations are going to start any minute. We have also measures improving occupational safety and health, and also measures improving the social dialogue at EU level, but also I would say improving the social dialogue at national level and at local level. We will also be working on the new measures on working conditions and access to social protection for platform workers. You will see later when the President will address the recovery package, what is the sequence and what is the timing of each of these initiatives, and also facilitate free movement of labor mobility, and in order to accelerate the economic recovery. And in order to fight poverty, we will move. Yes, European pillar remains the main tool and the main guide and the guidance and the compass and whatever we like to say, but indeed it is in the end the values that we all accepted as our common values. I will reflect today a bit on child guarantee, European disability strategy, aging, and then I will touch upon some other initiatives. Bianca, how am I with the time?
That's very good. Yes, you can
Okay.
go ahead. We are very interested.
Thank you. So the child guarantee, I think is very relevant for all of us and all of you, because indeed childcare, education, housing, and other aspects that are going to be a part of the child guarantee package are really lying on your shoulder, I would say. If not, we want to use the phrase on your back, but it's indeed, you are on the forefront of any activity related to children. It is going to be adopted in 2021 as a part of the broader framework on combating poverty and anti-poverty framework, and the part of the rights of the children package. Focus is going to be on the children in need and on services, and we would like that children in need would have the possibility to have extremely affordable, if not free, access to various services. We will continue with the implementation of the child guarantee preparatory actions, which started already since 2017, and the EP 3 pilot projects. First was the feasibility study, second one was economic impact, and the third one will be implementation of various concrete projects in certain number of member states, and this will all fill in the child guarantee initiative. But as you see, timing will be that the child guarantee initiative will be adopted in 2021, which is quite soon, and therefore the ongoing activities are indeed in terms of defining which services and which children in need, and how far and how deep should we go. European Disability Strategy. The Commission is going to adopt a strategy in early 2021. As you know, presently we have the European Disability Strategy for the last 10 years. We will strengthen this strategy, and also we will add the remaining elements from the UN Convention on the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities, as the present strategy did not take on board all of the relevant articles. And also you will see from soon, when the public consultation on the new strategy are going to start, how we see that one of the main challenges is to see the life cycle approach and challenges of persons with disabilities. So starting from the birth, from the education, from entering into the labor market, and then all the challenges related to aging and deinstitutionalization and independent living. So these are all going to be elements of the new European Disability Strategy. When it comes to the aging and the social protection, we see that indeed the risk was greater in the cities than in rural areas, and that social isolation may deepen. We also see the increase of loneliness, but not only in elderly population, and we would say we see it's all across different age groups, and this is also a challenge that we have in this respect. And we have several elements that we want to implement. And first, we are going to adopt the report on how demographic changes affects areas and regions. And you could imagine that the scope of the report which was supposed to be adopted by the end of March, and seeing different aspects, of course, it will have also a bit change in the structure of the report, really to reflect the present situation of the EU member states. After the report, we are going to start a consultation on the Green Paper of Aging, which is going to set the number of possibilities and announced number of different initiatives in the area of aging and social protection. And we have two coming reports, the pension adequacy report, and for the first time after many, many years, the report on the long-term care, which are both due 2021. But we will see today what the Commissioner Schmidt is going to say also about a possible initiative in the long-term care area, and also extremely important challenges that the long-term care is facing. Before going to the MFF, I also would like to inform you that many of you spoke today about the recovery from the previous crisis, and yes, we can say that we just started recovering from the 2008 crisis, and the figures on the poverty and in-work poverty are very slowly decreasing, and unfortunately we will have the increase of AROPE, people facing poverty. We will see also increase of people within in-work poverty. And today we will see how the new and possible initiative is going to be seen in the area and in the framework of minimum income. And I can speak about it because Commissioner has already mentioned it on several occasions that it is extremely important topic to him, and that we are looking at the best way how to address the minimum income aspect. I don't know if you know, but we have two instruments put in place long time ago, 1992, 2008, both recommendation on the minimum income. And these are the building blocks, I would say, but indeed we have to see that our future initiative has a really impact, and that has impact on those that are most in need in our communities, I would say. So the ESF Plus and the new MFF, what I can share with you is that the new ESF Plus will show the new synergies. So it will be one fund combined of several funds. So ESF, let's say classical ESF, employment, social and education, FEAD, food and material assistance, youth employment, new and revised, redefined new youth employment initiative, and also EASY employment and social innovation program, while EASY will still remain directly managed. So from the Brussels, all three other components are shared management, which means that we share responsibility with the member states, and that it is extremely important. I think you have seen this slide plenty times before, so maybe we can skip it. Annex D and the European semester are, of course, relevant, but I think even more important are the next steps. So the ESF negotiations, which are somehow on hold, but still the discussion is, I would say, very deep and very frequent. We see that some member states are further in the process. We see that some are not that far. Also, what we promote is strong partnership approach, so that all the relevant stakeholders are involved in time, and that they have something to say. And therefore, I always ask all of our stakeholders where I speak, please ask, if not being asked, ask and demand of your managing authorities and coordinating bodies to include you, and to secure that your voice is heard, and to secure that your interests and interests of the citizens that you are representing are heard. So these are plenty useful links that you can, of course, see afterwards. And here, Bianca, I would stop.
Yes, thank you so much, Katarina. A lot of useful information. a lot of fruitful reflections also on how cities can benefit from and contribute to these policies. So there were two main parts of your presentation, very important. One on the social policies that are upcoming or they are being prepared, and one on the EU funding, the recovery packages and the MFF, and including the ESF+. So maybe I will start with the most specific questions that we received was from Rotterdam, specifically on the youth guarantee, child guarantee. How, what are the criteria to make use of this child guarantee, or if there's anything you can share at this stage, what's the thinking behind it? If how will the child guarantee be implemented, and how can cities actually benefit and use it?
Okay, I think I switched the camera off. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And you don't see me? Okay, now I see myself. Well, the child guarantee is, as I said, in the process of being developed.
Mm-hmm.
So far, what we want and what I told you is indeed that we want to address children in need. Children in need somehow have been identified in the first phase of the pilot project. So those are children living in precarious households, migrant children, children with disability, and which was the Roma children were part of that as well. And I'm missing one group, but I will remember it later. And also we looked into different services: health, nutrition, childcare, education, and housing. We want in our initiative, we will set certain elements that we want to address, such as securing access of children with disabilities in the preschool institutions or in the regular education when possible. Securing certain elements, either personal assistance to the children, educational assistance, or securing adequate equipment, or some other elements that are there and that still do not exist in many member states. And I would dare to say that they rarely exist. And then it will be up to the member states, and we will try to be not as descriptive, like you can use it only for this, because like a similar approach you have seen in the youth guarantee, where we set how, but we don't go into deciding what member states want to use or which group of children they want to use. Of course, the member states will have the possibility to define children in need, and then to have a certain flexibility, more flexibility for them. Depending on the MFF, you know that the Parliament has asked for 5% of the budget, of the ESF plus budget, to be allocated for the children. So we will see today what will happen with this element. But even if such a strong thematic concentration wouldn't be set, the funds will definitely need to be spent from the ESF plus, including, of course, FEAD, because we've seen some of the member states dealing with, let's say, it's not really maybe most correct to say hungry children, but we have seen that in plenty of member states there are children who don't even have one warm meal a day, and then with FEAD, some of the member states have managed to address this challenge. So FEAD will have to be used as well. We also push for our other programs to be also part of the child guarantee, such as InvestEU, and also the ERDF for the social infrastructure. And if certain elements like the childcare facilities do not exist in remote or in rural areas, it is then going to be possible to co-finance those activities. Okay. I see the question is exactly. How will it be managed? It will be managed as a shared management so through your managing authorities, and then if you have intermediate bodies, through intermediate bodies. But therefore it is extremely important. We have not put any limitations like we favor rural or urban or whatever. So in this respect, I think it's extremely important to see with your managing authorities. We did not go that far to see are there going to be specific calls for proposals, or how is it going to be done? What we want to avoid is that the member states label, let's say, business as usual as a child guarantee contribution. We want to see the new investments targeting for really children in need. So I hope I replied. I don't know, Bianca, if I missed any.
Yes, indeed. And I think you specified correctly that it's not a specific pot of money like a youth guarantee. It's something that can be used through the ESF Plus, from the FEAD, or from InvestEU or ERDF, like you said. So there are different financing streams that have different channels, the way they are managed at the moment.
Yes, also for the rural fund. I think this is extremely important for the small cities and municipalities as well, that could use the possibilities of rural fund. And also we will see for the migrant children if AMIF funds could be used. So indeed we want to go even bigger than 5% of ESF, because I think it's extremely important, and we know that equal opportunities are secured in this early age, and therefore it is needed to react where it is needed. And when?
Yes, indeed, and that makes ESF Plus and all the other elements, but very important for child guarantee, but also for the recovery as such, as you presented also in the recovery. What we are looking forward to see the negotiations unfolding. And if ESF Plus is an important instrument, a key instrument for recovery, do you think it will be strengthened? And how can we make sure that there is a strong, clear urban element into it? Because as we know, the consequences of this coronavirus crisis are really affecting, as you've discussed with the cities, a lot of social consequences in the cities. So what is your recommendation on how can we make sure that there's a strong urban dimension in the ESF Plus programs?
Well, I can see that the present financial perspective with ITI has shown also lots of bottlenecks and I would say painful times for many cities to see how to utilize the possibility and use the funds. But it has also shown the importance of including cities into the implementation of the funds, and therefore they have the experience, they have the knowledge, and as I said before, please really push for the larger involvement of the cities, not only in the programming exercise, but then in the implementation. What I'm also trying to push is that we secure, for example, for the InvestEU, which is a new program for us in the social affairs in DG Ample, because up until now, with such credits or guarantees or micro facilities have been dealt only in the area of social entrepreneurship. But now that we are pushing for the employment, education, and social services to be also part of InvestEU, we are also pushing to have additional counseling and additional supporting services that would help cities, that would help the local, even smaller units like communities or municipalities to use the EU funds, and this will be the case of InvestEU. But indeed, these are extremely important. What is my fear, I have to share with you today, is that we have let's say, big players on the field. One hospital can eat hundreds of kindergartens or schools or other elements, but we have to find a balance in order to secure sufficient funding for, of course, health infrastructure, but not to forget about the social aspects and the social infrastructure. Yeah. And I would say this is the fight that I have every day, and I think it's extremely important for you also to raise this voice and to put it on the table that it is extremely important. And then you know that we had ambitious plan of greening the European economy and putting it into a completely different perspective. I'm sure that it is going to be visible today in the package that Commission is presenting. So we should work side by side while developing infrastructure and service projects, also having this digital and green component in mind.
Yes, yes, indeed. And that's very important announcement you've made, that there may be additional supporting services in the InvestEU for cities, because social infrastructure is extremely important. We've seen this in the crisis. It's an essential investment to make in the social services and social infrastructure. And if we want to learn from the past crisis, is really not to do the cuts there. That is really to be maintained and increased. An interesting point on the minimum income, because you also mentioned, and we know it's on the agenda of the German presidency, and we have an intervention from Glasgow, an input from the Councillor Christy Bailey. If you are online, I can give you the floor so that you can briefly mention the point on minimum income. Yes? Anyone from Glasgow? Yes?
Hello? Hello,
yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, so in Glasgow and Scotland and the whole of the UK, in fact, the subject of a universal basic income has been, well, a hot topic for quite a few years now, but during this current crisis, it's become even more evident that there's just a level below which you cannot go as a human being financially. And with so many people losing their jobs, and there certainly has been great interventions from national governments in supporting those who cannot work anymore, obviously, if their business has had to close. So staff have been furloughed and there has been certain monies to support them, but also in certain sectors, there have been gaps. Some industries will never come back. And we're seeing a lot of people, as I'm sure you all have, and it's been mentioned earlier today, the income has just dropped drastically. And it's wonderful, the community supports that we have and what the city governments are trying to do to feed, whether that be hot meals or just delivery of food parcels. However, on a bigger level, that can't be maintained forever. So we obviously, in Scotland, as in all European countries, there is a social network and a welfare state, so people can get benefits if they're unemployed. But unfortunately, those benefits do not cover most of your sort of daily living expenses. So this is something we are exploring in Glasgow. And Scotland, how can we make this work? The city government in Glasgow wouldn't have the authority to implement something like that straight away, but we would be hoping to work with European partners to make a pledge and work together and find just how this would be feasible to put forward in the future and how it would be funded. Because as I mentioned, it wouldn't be a state benefit as such, you know, it would be more than that. It would be a basic level of income that would afford all families, you know, a decent house and utilities and everything that they need. So I just wanted to sort of open, I know it's the topic has been raised, so I just wanted to open that conversation just to see if we get any more thoughts on that and how we take it forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Christy, from Glasgow. Indeed, and there has been a lot of work done in Barcelona and Utrecht also in recent years on minimum income. I know there's discussions in the Spanish government at the moment on this guaranteed minimum income. And Katarina, you already mentioned that there are discussions also at EU level to start a debate on minimum wage. Yes.
Yes, could we ask maybe the Spanish colleagues to reflect, because I think they're adopting it today or tomorrow.
Yes, yes, indeed. So colleagues from the Spanish cities, I think Barcelona and Madrid were online, as well as Gijón. Anyone wants to share about the discussion that is now in the government on the guaranteed minimum income?
Well, like until they
Let me see who is there. I think they're a bit shy. So go ahead, Katarina.
Yes. So yes, indeed, it's extremely important topic. It's extremely important into when addressing inequalities. I would say each and every member state has some kind of social safety net. They call it differently, from the guaranteed minimum income to minimum benefit, minimum income, or whatever the title is. We see also that some of the member states are introducing like a minimum income for elderly population, national pensions or something like that. And indeed, we see a strong need for easy reaction in this field. Why? Because we think that it is important to see within the different minimum income schemes and systems how we can secure that in times of changing patterns and changing data and figures, the minimum income secures indeed the minimum minimum of decent living a person should have. We are also looking into how to secure that minimum income beneficiaries or end recipients, let's say, are having access to different services. What we see in many member states is that, for example, the end recipients of the minimum income are afraid of engaging into active labor market measures or some other activities because afraid of losing even small income they have in order maybe to increase their possibility to get a better and a quality job. And this is definitely going to be addressed in the future, how we see it, and also what we want to put in the reality, really the system of exchange of data, the system of comparison of the member states. We have indicators in this respect, but we have even the benchmark marking, which is possibility to compare member states in order to see where they could find a coordinated response. But indeed, it is even more important to find who the beneficiaries are, and then crucial question is, of course, how it is going to be financed. It is a passive measure. It is clearly benefit per se is a passive measure, but if we see the possibility of combining it with some active measures and combining it with some other type of services and measures, then we can really have the synergy, and then we can really increase not only the income, but indeed the perspective of an individual.
Yes, indeed. And actually, that's a debate that is now getting a lot of strength at EU level, also under German presidency. We see that there will be a discussion. And we also, with cities, we want to take stock of the lessons learned from Barcelona, Utrecht, and Glasgow with the pilots that you've done in the cities. So we will be doing a series of city dialogues, and we will be inviting cities to write the pledges if they are ready to on minimum income, if that's on their political priorities right now, like we know in Spanish cities. So Katarina, you'll see also some pledges coming on minimum income, as well as on equality, that we want to work a lot more on equality given the consequences of the coronavirus. So I see no more questions at the moment. So it seems that we are all eagerly waiting to see the press conference and to read the documents on the recovery. But thank you so much, Katarina, already for the insights you've provided on the recovery package, but also on the social agenda of the EU for this year and next year. So now we know how to plan our work and to get contributions and inputs from the city so that we make a strong contribution. Yes. So thank you so much, Katarina. Yes, if you want, you can stay with us If not, we wish you a good day. Because now, yes.
Yes, unfortunately, I have other meetings I have to attend, and I would like to stay with you. And you know that I follow close to your work and appreciate a lot what you have been doing, and the network that you have established. I think it's a very powerful one, and should be really carefully maintained. So thank you once again for organizing the debate and organizing the discussion. Jelena, I wish we were in Zagreb today, and I was really hoping to see my family and friends after a long time, but unfortunately we are here where we are, and grateful that we are healthy as much as possible. So really looking forward for the next meeting everywhere, but especially in Zagreb. So thank you, Bianca. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Katarina.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And now we are moving on to the third final part of our meeting, which is the SAF business meeting. So I will share the screen. I will share the presentation. I hope you will all be able to see it. If not, you can follow it through, yes, from the presentation I sent via email. So in the SAF business meeting, we are a bit behind schedule, but we will try to cover this in half an hour. So stay with us. We will present very shortly the EUROCITIES strategic framework that has been adopted. Then we will announce the new city pledges of our campaign to the European Pillar of Social Rights. We have Gijón, the Mayor of Gijón, that will present the gender equality, and we also have a new city proposal from Amsterdam. And then we will discuss our advocacy. So how are we working towards this influencing the policies in the social agenda we've heard. Finally, we will give the floor to Karlstad to welcome them as a new associate partner, and we will announce the new dates for our meeting in Zagreb in autumn. So now I invite my colleague Silvia to give us a few words, an overview of the strategic framework of EUROCITIES.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bianca, and thank you everybody for being with us on this online meeting. It's a bit of a shame we cannot meet in our usual social affairs forum, but I think that we are doing a very good job with this meeting online. Excuse me, my laptop is not very stable. So I would like to start this business meeting by taking you back a bit of a couple of years ago when we started discussions about how to make our work more in line with the challenges that we have to face at city level. As you know, the work we are doing is increasingly cross-cutting, and there was a need to start to break a bit the silos approach and to make sure that when we address urban challenges, we create synergies within the network. So we had a discussion with all the forums. You were part of a discussion on social issues. We also had a couple of feedback in the ExCom and also a network survey to better identify priorities, but also areas for changing the way we work. And in the end, last year, after 2 years of consultation with members in a very bottom-up approach, we came up and it was approved by our ExCom with a EuroCities strategic framework. It's a guide for us for the next 10 years. And as you can see on this slide, the idea is really to have a network in line with the new challenges in making our cities more inclusive, more healthy, more prosperous, to make sure that the way we work is fit for the future. So in this first slide, you can see our main goals. And the idea is that each forum has to work across all this policy area. You can see that already in this discussion today, we know that working on inclusive society means that you need to have a well-functioning local economy, Health has become increasingly important, we have seen with this COVID crisis. So when we are thinking about how we build up our work for the years to come, we should not only focus on the goals of inclusive society, we should also think in a very cross-cutting way. You know that this started already last year, and we have this meeting of all the forum chairs and vice chair with the working group chairs and vice chair. We get together and we decide how to build up our action plan for next year. This year, I can anticipate the meeting is going to be online, clearly, and the date is the 17th of June, but you will hear more about how we are going to work on this for next year. I'm going to take you through, thank you for changing the slide, Bianca, because I wasn't really able to do it myself. If we go to the goals one, which is working for having an inclusive urban society, is what we can consider sub-priority. And when we look at the sub-priorities, the objective, we have our fight against urban poverty. Housing is a key priority for us. Of course, we have all the work about migrations and refugees, education, the importance of having public services that are accessible and of quality, and then labor markets. So, I mean, clearly, you know, this is a result of the work we have already done, but is also trying to match European Commission priority. And you've heard from Caterina, and I think that we can be proud of ourselves. We are really going to the right direction. I've already mentioned the importance of not forgetting about our policy priorities and goals. And I can already anticipate that we plan to work more on cross-cutting issues such as skills. So working with our forums that are working on economic development and are working on skills is very important. Housing is also very cross-cutting because there's a lot about investments. The Green Deal is putting forward the just transition. So here it's our work with Environmental Forum. But we also have a more transversal objective, which is about addressing global challenges. And here we have rising inequalities. And clearly, it's a bit of a horizontal approach that enables us also to look at our work in a more horizontal way. I think I need to stop here because we are a bit, I'm time conscious. I will be happy to take more questions maybe later on how we are ensuring that our work that we plan as part of the EASY grant, as part of our working group and SAF priorities is going to fit in our EuroCities strategic framework. Bianca, I think that, yes, I'm going to mute myself and
Bianca, we don't hear you right now. Yes.
Okay, now we can hear me. There was a situation with the microphone. So everyone, thank you so much, Silvia. And if you have any questions to Silvia, you can ask in the chat box. She is with us and she can reply. Now we move to the next part, and it's very linked to the strategic priorities of EuroCities. We have our campaign on the European Pillar of Social Rights. So where are we in the campaign? A short update. We are progressing very well. We are continuing the campaign in 2020. We are collecting new city pledges. And as of April, we have 30 cities that have joined the campaign, some with more than one pledge. We have collected 36 pledges. And in total, the pledges put together about 6 billion euros in local measures that implement different principles of the Pillar of Social Rights. So you can see that the map of Europe is very well covered. Cities from many different parts of Europe are joining the campaign. We are very happy, and the campaign remains open, so please do join us. And as the most recent pledge has come from Gijón on gender equality, we have the mayor, Ana González Rodriguez, with us to share some information on their pledge and why they decided to join this campaign. So I want to give the floor to Gijón. I think you are online. You can unmute yourself, yes?
Yes, you hear us?
Yes, perfect. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You.
And yes, please let us know what is your pledge about and why did you decide to do a pledge?
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. First of all, we would like to apologize the mayor, Ana González, because she has a plenary meeting in the council in a room close to this one. If she finishes, maybe she can join with us. But now you can see in the screen to my colleague, Goretti Abello. She is the General Director for Gender Equality Policies in the City Council, and myself, Enrique Rodriguez. We worked together to write the pledge, and now we try to do a short summary about our commitment with gender and equality policies. We try to do a short summary, focus on 4 points. The first point is the central position or the central importance or relevance of local governments. We thought here in Gijón that the local governments have a privileged and strategic position because on the one hand, we are the receivers of European, regional, national policies. And on the other hand, we are the closest administration to the citizenship. This position we consider is very important position, and Gijón City Council use these central positions to design, to adapt the gender and equality policies to our reality. The first point, so, is the central position of local government to design, to adapt the policies about gender equality. The second key point is the role of the women associations. Here, in this point, we work with an approach bottom-up. Sylvia told us something about this approach, and Gijón Council used this approach to reach the role of the women associations to the council. Through this close relationship, the women association participate in the creation, development, and monitoring of the public policies. The women association, the women have a strong position to create services and programs in our municipality. The consequence of this role of women association is, the final consequence is to create a new model of social transformation. And the final consequence is Gijón is a cohesive and equal city.
That is very interesting how you work. Yes,
it's really interesting. We work really good in this field, believe us.
Yes, and my colleague has just shared with everyone the text of your pledge, so we don't need to share all the details. Maybe you can share with us why did your city and your mayor decide to have a pledge on gender equality, to join the campaign?
Why? Okay, before I would like to say 2 key points. I'm going only to say the main line. The 3 key point is the mainstreaming vision, and we introduce the equality policies in each one of municipal actions. And the 4 point, only the main line, is we try to promote education for the equality. For us, the role of the education is really, really important. And now I'm going to answer your question, Bianca. why Gijón decided to participate in the campaign, to commit with the pledge? Two main issues: European strategy. We think that the European strategy is really important for us. Through European policies, we try to modernize and improve our structure. And on the other hand, we consider that the gender and equality policies are really important. They have a relevance in the municipal life. We consider that without a real equality between women and men, it's not possible to have a real equality city. And the mayor, Ana González, tried to promote, to show our activities in Europe and to share. The idea after our pledge is having the opportunity to work with other cities, with other partners in EUROCITIES, to create projects, to share with practices, workshops, and so on. We would like to share with you, with each member of EUROCITIES, our policy in gender and equality.
Mm-hmm. Yes, excellent. Yes, and we learn a lot from Gijón because you're doing so much on equality, and you have your local charter for equality. It's already a big step, and you have this dual approach: mainstreaming, yes, under the mayor's responsibility, but also very targeted actions on gender equality under your department for equality policies. So well done. A big applause for your strong pledge and commitment to make gender equality a reality in your city. And we stay on equality. I think equality policies are very important, or even in the aftermath of or during the coronavirus crisis. We need to ensure that we prevent as much as possible and combat rising inequalities by fostering equality measures and ensuring equal access to services. That's why we have with us today Duco Sturman from Amsterdam, the Director for Social Services in Amsterdam. I can see Duco. Hi, hello. Duco. Welcome, Duco, to our conversation. And I know Amsterdam is doing a lot to tackle inequalities in a very proactive way. You've recently initiated a roundtable for city directors of social services from EUROCITIES and beyond to work on inequality. So what is this roundtable about and who is involved?
Yeah, we invited in January city directors of 16 cities in Europe to exchange knowledge and to explore how we can cooperate on this subject of inequality and segregation. And we found out there's a lot of things we have in common on the subject, and we learned a lot from each other from that regard. We had it in 2 days in Amsterdam. And we agreed that to continue the cooperation on that subject. And because it's a wide range of things we do on this subject, we concentrated it for the next for 2020 on the neighborhood approach and child poverty. And we see now with the COVID crisis, and it comes from a health crisis to an economic crisis to a social crisis, that it's becoming more important than we expected in January. I think following the discussion this morning, also everybody sees this it's affecting the most vulnerable in our cities with that regard. So we started at the roundtable to learn from each other and to find some ways of cooperating also on a strategic level and not only on the political level. And we found out that it's more important than we expected before.
Yes, and now it gets a new dimension, right, with the coronavirus consequences and how to mitigate. One of the elements, the big elements to discuss is how to tackle rising inequalities. So how are you using the roundtable to contribute to the EU debate on tackling inequalities, and in particular to the European Pillar of Social Rights?
Now we see that the roundtable contributes especially to Principle 3, and it's equal opportunities. And we try to cooperate in order to provide those equal opportunities to our citizens all. And I think it's not one subject of gender equality, but in a broader perspective to aim at the access to goods and services available to the public. And I think it's in order to show the institutions what we already are doing. That's one of the things, and also draw attention to this urgent matter to the European Union. And that's why we want to cooperate and try to make a collaborative way of the pledge.
Yes, so you have made a proposal for a collaborative initiative on a joint pledge for equality, which is Principle 3 of the EU Pillar of Social Rights. So how can cities join your initiative, and why should they join your initiative?
I think we found out with the round table that we're facing similar problems. And one of the things we asked if everybody's recognized those problems we see as cities, and make a pledge to show what we are doing in the cities and also the importance of the subject. So I think what we are doing must be more visible in the cities to learn, but also to see what's important or not, and also to make it to address the subject on the European agenda more in this moment with more urgency.
Exactly, and I think what you're saying is like together we are stronger. We can make a louder voice to the EU and also in our countries, and it is absolutely the time to act on equality given the situation in our cities. So Duko, if a city that is attending this meeting wants to join your initiative, how can they do so?
I hope via you to help us coordinate this. You did help us very much in January, organizing also the round table. Thank you for that still. But I hope we can do it via EuroCities and via our people connecting.
Exactly. So now I definitely thank Duko, and I can invite everyone that is attending to think of the possibility to join this campaign.
Thank you.
Join the initiative by Amsterdam to have a pledge on equality, and let's show that our cities are working on tackling inequalities. You can also consider pledges on other principles, like on minimum income that we discussed, or on employment that is becoming important. So join the campaign now to get recognition for what you're doing in your city, recognition from EU level, to get a better position to access EU funds, because we know that EU funds will be linked to the European Pillar of Social Rights, and to contribute to the EU policy and the action plan of the Pillar of Social Rights. So you will see in a minute the slides on your screen, what we are doing next on this campaign. So we continue to collect more pledges. So please get in touch with us. If you want to prepare a pledge, we can assist you doing so. We can put you in contact also with Duko from Amsterdam for the city pledge on equality. We want to give more visibility to the pledges. So we are launching a new website very soon where all the pledges will be presented in an interactive, in a user-friendly way. We want to prepare a high-level political event in the European Parliament, hopefully in autumn, if this is possible. This will be similar to the one we've had last year when we launched the campaign, but now we will announce new city pledges, and we will discuss also in the context of mitigating the consequences of the crisis. And finally, this is linked to our advocacy. We want to engage and make a strong voice of cities in the EU consultation on reinforcing social Europe. That will be concluded with the launch of an action plan for the European Pillar of Social Rights next year in 2021 in Portugal under the Portuguese presidency. Yes, there will be an invitation to join the pledge from Amsterdam. Amsterdam already launched this in the roundtable for the social services directors, but we can share that in the whole EuroCities. So this will be the follow-up of this meeting. We will share this with you for sure, and you can join a pledge on equality. You can also have more than just one pledge if you're working on several priorities, so that is possible. And this will be helpful for us to build our advocacy for this year. And now you can see on the screen our priorities for 2020. In this year, we really want to step up our advocacy work to position cities as key partners in building a more social Europe. And this is even more important now, given the socio-economic consequences of the crisis. We want to achieve this in three ways. One is agenda setting. So we want to set the agenda on what we need to discuss by putting forward proposals during the consultation on reinforcing social Europe. This consultation is open. If you click on but we will also share the screen and the slides after the meeting, you will see that there is a very open consultation. You can upload documents or just type in. There's no questions, it's just free text. And we want to use these opportunities to first answer to the consultation by through a EuroCities statement. So we are working on developing a statement with key policy messages from cities on how we need to reinforce social Europe. What social Europe we should work towards. And we will involve all of you with inputs to the statement. So we will share this in the month of June. And based on this statement, we will also invite all of you, we will mobilize a strong participation in the consultation by, first, you can send the city pledges, the new ones, but also the ones already available that can easily upload it. And we can show, yes, we can show the EuroCities campaign and the pledges to the European Commission. And we can also, you can also reply to the consultation with the policy messages that we will be sharing through our EuroCities statement. So all this will be our key priority for this year. I hope now you can see, yes, maybe now you can see the slides. I was not aware you didn't see. But besides this, we want to influence all the EU social policy priorities that Katarina from DG Employment mentioned. So there's a wide array, and we want to bring a city perspective into all of them, and even more so advocate for better access of cities to the EU funding. And here we really have inside the ESF Plus, but also Invest EU and the EU Recovery Fund. So we really do a lot of step up of our work on funding. So this is transversal work that we do in EuroCities across working groups. We have already scheduled a political meeting with Commissioner Schmidt on 12th of June, where we want to really position cities as key partners in building social Europe and in building an inclusive recovery. And we will work very much on getting a recognized role for cities in the EU Social Summit that is planned for the first half of next year. That's going to be a key opportunity for us to raise our voice on what social policies we want to see, but also to show the leadership from cities through the example of city pledges. So that's the transversal work we do, but more thematic work. There's, as you heard from Katarina, a lot of different initiatives that our cities should contribute to ensure there's a strong urban dimension in the EU policies, ranging from skills to housing and aging. So now I will do a quick overview. I will give you a quick overview of our key advocacy actions by interviewing very quickly our team. And in this way, you can also meet the people behind the emails who are working on this advocacy. So first we will start with Silvia. Silvia, you are working closely with the European Parliament, with the members of European Parliament on a new file on housing. So what are we doing concretely with the MEPs?
Yes, thank you, Bianca. This is a key dossier for us because what we are missing in a European institution is a reference point where we can discuss housing and all the dimensions relating to housing, not just about homelessness, not just about energy poverty, not just about investments. As you know, the Commission is still very sectorial, so our lobby on housing has been quite fragmented. Thanks to the urban agenda and to our housing partnership, we were able to push the Commission to get together and to look at the housing housing issue in an integrated way. Clearly, we've heard that housing is extremely important for all the cities, is a key factor for social inclusion, for social mix, for the quality of life of people. And with the crisis on COVID, housing is becoming even more important. So far, we have already spoken to the rapporteur, to the shadow rapporteur, and we also have some other calls coming up. We are in very good terms. Our points coming from the local level are very well received. It's our chance to remind that housing is not just exclusion of housing, but is also for the middle class that is having increasingly issue in accessing affordable housing. Is this a point that we still have to fight a little bit? I also would like to mention that on housing, but also other dossier, we have this renovation wave initiative coming up as part of the Green Deal. We are participating to the consultation as EuroCities. We will also put together our position paper on that. And then we also have the Digital Service Act coming up. It has been postponed probably to early next year. And the Digital Service Act is very important to raise our concerns with issues such as Airbnb, short-term rental, and all this digital platform.
Yes, indeed. And this is going to be a very big challenge also in the context of the coronavirus crisis, such as also is skills and employment. And also social economy. These are very important policy areas and very strong to consider now in the coronavirus crisis. So Patricia, what is EuroCities doing on skills, employment and social economy to input to the EU policies?
So thank you, Bianca. We have been very active in the last months on the topic, especially as we know and as you could also see that the skills and employment will be at the core of the recovery economy. So we took advantage of all the public consultations that we had. We've been very active on the youth guarantee, and it's also good to see that it's interesting also, and it's a highly interested program for our members. So for the youth guarantee, we have contributed to the focus groups that the Commission had. We have also put together a paper on the role of cities in implementing the youth guarantee. And now we are waiting for the proposal that will come from the Commission in mid-June to see what's in there and how we can further influence the proposal until it's voted by the Parliament. So that would be one of the main focus areas, as well as the new EU skills agenda. We have tried on skills also to contribute transversal, so we are working with other forums as well. We have worked with the KSF and with the EDF to contribute to all the public consultations that were opened and were somehow related to the skills. For example, on the artificial intelligence, as well as on the industry strategy. And beside this, so as employment itself, and of course, together with Bianca on ESF Plus and any other related programs that will be somehow connected to skills and employment. And beside this, we are active now and working again with EDF for the action plan on social economy. So we are trying to put together gather practices and showcase to the Commission what's the role of cities so far in the social economy, and to make the point of what are the challenges and opportunities that we see at cities for the future. So it's going to be a very interesting second part of the year.
Yes, there's a lot of work to do on skills, employment and social economy. Thank you, Patricia. And now we go to Masha to hear more on aging. So we've heard from the Commission that there's a green paper on aging coming up. So how are we working to advance the urban dimension into this green paper, Masha?
Yes, hello everyone. So I think the crisis has shown very explicitly that there is a kind of a double burden. First, that The burden is in cities with especially high urban density, and then we have heightened vulnerabilities considering the elderly. So we have unprecedented challenges to account for all of that on an urban level, and this is why I think we will really input to the consultation on the Green Paper in order to showcase for the Commission that the urban dimension is very important to tackle the challenges, and also regarding elderly people in institutions such as nursery homes and long-term care homes, as the crisis also has shown a very high mortality rate, especially in these institutions. So we will definitely provide inputs to the paper from and work especially to our working group Urban Aging, where we have the meeting on the 11th of June to also reflect on the lessons learned and devise some strategies and increase the mutual learning between all of us. I'm sorry, my daughter just jumped.
No problem, because I see a link to child guarantee. We are also working on the child guarantee for children. With a new working group children. So we are collecting practices and inputs to provide to the Commission, because this is going to be a very big initiative, as we've heard. So child guarantee is really important. Among the most vulnerable children are of Roma ethnicity. So Solène, how are we working on the topic of Roma? And because we know that the EU Roma framework is coming to an end in 2020.
Yes, thank you, Bianca. Indeed, the framework is coming to an end. The Commission is currently working on a post-2020 initiative. We are advocating for several points, including having a broader definition of who should be included in this framework, also mobile citizens who were not covered in the previous one. Trying to promote also a more inclusive approach, not by topic, but mixing up the different problematics together to have a more efficient approach. And of course, ensuring that cities are represented through all the steps, from preparing the action plan or the national integration strategies to implementing them and evaluating them. So there is a lot to come. We are still waiting to see whether the framework will be launched this year or postponed. The coronavirus seems to have changed a little bit the situation, because Roma people have been extremely affected. And the Commission might decide to postpone the launch of the framework to include some of the latest updates. We should have more information today or in the upcoming days.
So we will be looking forward to hear more on this topic. And yes, not only Roma are the most vulnerable, but also the migrants and refugees are the hardest hit in this pandemic. So Katarina, how is EUROCITIES working on this?
Yes, indeed. Quite right to say that migrants and refugees are facing a very difficult situation at the moment. Also something that has kept cities very busy. What we are going to focus on advocacy-wise for the second part of this year is the action plan on integration and inclusion, which we can still expect at the end of this year. So that's supposed to be scheduled on time. The consultation process that the Commission is going to do with the relevant stakeholders is a little bit later than expected, but they are very committed to keeping us on board with this one. Then the cities have been very active in the working group Migration and Integration to also send in their progress in terms of the Integrating Cities Charter. So to pretty much charter their progress on integrating programs, policies, and practices on the local level. So we are going to take those that feedback and also feed it into the EU process, of course. And then maybe as a parallel, but not less important point, I would also like to mention the letter on refugee children relocation that we have done, initiated by the City of Amsterdam, and in the framework of our Solidarity Cities initiative that calls for the relocation of vulnerable children from the Greek islands to European cities, which is still open. And of course, you're very welcome to join for that one.
Thank you, Katarina. Yes, this letter has received a lot of attention in the media and also from the EU leaders. So cities that do want to get engaged on relocation of refugee children, please get in touch and join our initiative. We know we're a bit behind schedule, like 20 minutes behind schedule. We have 2 more parts and then we can conclude the meeting. So sorry about the delay. But now we will go to Karlstad. Karlstad has become a new associate partner of the Social Affairs Forum. Karlstad is a city in Sweden. And I'm welcoming Per Inge Leiden, chair of the Social Affairs Board of Karlstad. Welcome, Per Inge. We don't have very much time, but we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
How do you describe Karlstad? Why did you decide to join our Social Affairs Forum?
Well, you asked me to describe Karlstad in 1 sentence, so I wrote this morning. We are a green, growing university city and a capital of the region of Värmland, situated between the Great Forest and the largest lake within the European Union. What about that?
Wow, that's a good introduction. We want to know more.
So too, and we are very happy to be an associated partner, of course. I think this is very important for us in Karlstad.
And maybe other cities want to know, how does Karlstad work on social inclusion? How do you work to be an inclusive city?
We work on different ways, of course, like everyone else. But I think city planning, city planning to work to be an inclusive city where we build houses, where we construct a city is very important. Reaching out to young people, we are working very much with dropouts, young persons, and to integrate them into the society. We are happy to have around 9% of the population born outside the European Union, and we're working very much with education and introduction for immigrants and the new people in Karlstad, and also introducing them to the different networks, natural networks that are here.
So you seem to have a lot of challenges that are common to other cities. Yes, like migrant integration. That's really common to a lot of the cities we have here.
Yes, it is.
And yes,
we are happy about people coming here really, and that makes us a sort of more international oriented city. And I think basically that is important. But you know, to learn Swedish is not so simple.
I can imagine. So how do you wish to contribute to the forum, and what do you want to take back from other cities? What's your interest to learn?
We can contribute very much. We have worked very much with welfare digitalization for aging people. And there we are a sort of front runner, I think. Also with reaching out to young person and trying to work together with different institutions for unemployed people, where we include the health system, the insurance system, the state unemployed bureau and the municipality, and we are sort of making one door in for unemployed people. I think that's something we can contribute with. And maybe we are very interested in these social innovation labs. Because we don't have all the answers, we need to listen to others. I think in our time, we need to find new ways of reaching out to people and to integrate people in different ages. And we really want to learn from the rest of you. And maybe sometimes Karlstad, as a bit smaller city, also can be a sort of lab, because it's easier to try and to test new things in a smaller city like Karlstad, and then it can be maybe shared to other larger city that you are.
That's a very interesting approach. Yes, let's do our cities as socially innovative as possible.
Yeah.
And definitely we want to learn more about your integrated approach to tackle youth and unemployment in general. And we want to learn more from you and to share more with you. So I'm sure that Karlstad will participate in working group employment, yes, and maybe other working groups. So you are very welcome. A warm welcome to you to participate as fully as possible to our Social Affairs Forum. Thank you so much. And now we move to the final part on everyone wants to know, when are we going to go to Zagreb? to have our meeting there if the situation allows. So Jelena, please let us know, what are the dates? When can we visit you?
But first, välkomna Karlstad. Hur är vädret i Karlstad idag?
Ah, wow! Welcome.
Vädret i Karlstad, the weather in Karlstad is very warm, sunshine and 23 degrees.
Welcome. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So we are really very happy to announce the theme of the next EuroCities Social Affair Forum, which will be held in Zagreb from 8th till 10th November 2020. And the theme will be Cities in Transition, Green, Digital and Social, how to shape inclusive labor markets. The EuroCities Forum aims to equip city authorities to better understand the impact of green, digital and social transitions on the labor markets in our cities, and to better prepare for just transitions by shaping inclusive labor markets. In doing so, we aim to contribute to the European pillar of social rights principles. 4, active support to employment, and 5, secure and adaptable employment, as well as to the Sustainable Development Goal. We emphasize that the city of Zagreb faces the future challenge of developing and adopting a new social plan for period of 2021-27 as the most important strategic document in the field of social policy, and we consider participation in this conference as a major and significant contribution to the better creation and design of measures and activities gathered to the guidelines as at a European level, especially in the area of inclusive employment as one of the important preconditions for poverty alleviation. In the light of the COVID-19 pandemic spread, the conference will be also a good place to discuss the impact of COVID-19 in our cities. So we are very much looking forward to the opportunity to welcome you all in our city and to have a chance to exchange and learn from the visiting cities, as well as to show what Zagreb has been working on in the area of social affairs that is even more important now during the pandemic and of course in this post-COVID-19 period.
Thank you so much, Jelena, for such a warm welcome and announcement. So everyone, you can pencil in your dates, 8 to 10 of November. Of course, we are monitoring the situation. If it's possible to travel internationally, this is still to be confirmed. We are very pleased to know that Zagreb is open to receive us, but now we have to see if we can get there. Anyway, rest assured that if we cannot attend all in person, we are looking to explore innovative formats to mix a physical meeting with a live stream option to join online if you cannot travel yourself. And bear in mind that there will be forum elections for a new chair and vice chair of our forum. You will have information in the next weeks for an expression of interest if your politician is interested to become chair or vice chair. And this leads to our final part of the meeting when we hear from Sedat, our chair, some final remarks. Sedat, what have you learned from this meeting, and especially from the debate with the Commission and the other deputy mayors?
Thank you, Bianca. To be honest, a lot, but and I will be short. Maybe I see a lot of people have a little time, but I would like to say a big thank you to all the cities that has been involved today in this discussion, because I realized in these discussions that more than ever we need cooperation between states, but not only states, also between the cities, where we can share experiences on how to tackle and mitigate the consequences of the COVID-19 situation, but also in the longer term of the social situation in our cities. So cooperation is what I can say is really important, more important than ever. And I look forward to continue these discussions both on digital meetings also, but also I'm looking forward to hopefully see everyone in Croatia and in Zagreb, so we can continue how to keep having good development in our societies, of course. And before I also say goodbye, I would like to once again thank Gijon and Amsterdam for their social pledges, of course, and welcome to Karlstad into this EuroCity Social Affairs Forum family. And I'm glad to have you all in, and hopefully we can have good cooperation in the future and now. I would just like to say thank you once again to everyone, and see you hopefully in Croatia and Zagreb in the fall.
Thank you so much, Sedat. Thank you, Jelena. Thank you to all the deputy mayors. Thank you also to Karlstad. Welcome once again, Karlstad. We're looking forward to have you with us, hopefully physically in Zagreb. Thank you to everyone that participated and stayed with us. And apologies once again, we ran over with half an hour, but that's because we wanted to hear more from this interesting debate we've had in the morning. I thank also my colleagues who made this meeting possible, Maurice, Guillermo, Silvia, Patricia, Masha, Solène, Katerina, everyone that was involved. So thank you so much. And as a final note, you will receive all information. So the recording will be made available in a follow-up email, and all the PowerPoints and all the documents will be shared with you, as well as if you want to join with a pledge, we will make this opportunity very easy for you. So we will get you in contact with Amsterdam or with us, and you are welcome to do so. So thanks a lot to everyone, and we wish you a good day, and stay strong and stay safe away from this virus, and stay active with us. Yes, thank you so much, and I wish you a very good day. Bye bye.